published on microfiche from a newspaper in the Pawtucket Library, Pawtucket Public Library. So it's true, it's a true story, I believe it. The story tells us that back in the mid-1950s, there was a married couple residing in Cumberland, Rhode Island. The wife had become terminally ill. She knew her husband was having an affair with her own sister. So this wife said to her husband, as wives sometimes will, "You know, if I should die before you, and you marry my sister, I'll come back to haunt you." Well, as fate would have it, this lady did pass on prior to her husband. She was interred in Precious Blood Cemetery in Woonsocket. Her husband, their widower, did marry her sister. Well, in that great flood resulting from Hurricane Diane, August 1955, that lady's coffin was one of those washed out of its grave in Precious Blood Cemetery. Slid down the muddy earthen embankment, went into the Blackstone River, was carried away by the current of the Blackstone, and that woman's coffin came to rest on her former husband's front lawn with the lid open. Now, I so like to believe that story to be true because it must have busted up the new couple's weekend. You're telling me you never see her again? Now, in a moment, we're going to go inside Slater Mill where it's slightly warmer, but I'd like to share a verse I composed with you, if I have it memorized. It's called Nether River, like a Netherland. Now, 4 years ago, I was strolling along the walkway here in the early evening, and I found myself composing, which I suppose is infinitely preferable to decomposing, and I came up with this rhyme, Nether River. Looking down the Blackstone River causes me to quake and shiver when I think it might deliver those sad souls whose lives were claimed. Ceaselessly I see it flowing, with the chill wind softly blowing, and I pause here, never knowing of the lost ones left unnamed. Moonlight on the water gleaming, carried by the river streaming, spirits flown that now are dreaming of this river never tamed. So let us go inside. Ever since. It was Moses Brown who had the idea and the financial backing to build and open a cotton spinning mill on this site. And the remarkable Samuel Slater literally stole out of England, bringing with him that knowledge of the water-powered spinning machinery that a handful of American manufacturers who saw promise in textile manufacture, making cloth and yarn, such as Moses Brown, were trying unsuccessfully to replicate. Now, Moses Brown, midlife after the death of his wife, had converted to Quakerism. So as a Quaker by creed and by faith, Moses Brown was an early and an active abolitionist. Key word there is abolish, do away with. Moses Brown did not agree with the slave trade. So Moses Brown was known to boast in letters to his brothers, "In our mill we do not use slaves to work. We use children." That was a lot better. That was a pretty fair Moses Brown impression, by the way. And in many of these mills, including Slater Mill, children as young as 6, 7 years of age could come and work full 12-hour shifts. They would receive a half an hour break once per day for lunch and bathroom needs, but that was a rigidly timed half-hour break. And worker housing was built in the vicinity of the mills so that everyone could hear the factory bell and report to work. So, welcome to 1793. Guess who this stern-looking self-made man is, whose initials are SS? That's Mr. Slater, overseeing the mill. This is where he walked. This is where his living footsteps fell. So come through this way, please. We're going to make our way into the open area of the village. Also, you might imprint your image into our photographs. Come into our circle, please. We believe you're still here with us. We come here as your friends. We don't want to disturb you or frighten you. We only wish to learn about you. I'm going to ask a series of questions. I'm going to pause between those questions. I believe at least one of us has an audio recording. Keith is recording. Are you someone that worked here in Slater Mill? Did you work here with the children? Did you work for Mr. Samuel Slater? And already I'm feeling, so I don't know if this is just my experience, but I'm feeling like a pressure in my head. Now something seems to have changed in the air. And I'm feeling tingling here. Electric sensation. Are you here with us already? This is your place of work. It's where you remain. We are your guest here. All right, I don't know if it's just me at this point, but I'm feeling something very definite. It usually takes about 10 minutes, but I'm feeling this already. I feel like this, like an electric charge and tingling here. And you might want to take some pictures, those of you who have cameras. Are you here with us now? It seems you might be. Whoa. It almost stings. Anybody who feel it here that it's cold? Yeah. I'm just surprised it's happened this fast. I think it's used to us.
Also, anyone taking flash pictures, we ask that you call out flash first.
That way the person standing next to you isn't seeing a hovering green orb for the next 10 minutes. But it's also polite to the spirits. Sometimes they object to that. They're known to say no in the recording. Temperature's going down to 66. It's dropping now. Woo! Right. Let's see when it starts.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. Feel it. Right about here. Right about here, I feel it. I think this is our little friend. Say hello to my little friend. Oh, you, whoa! I mean, this is palpable. This is stronger than I felt it before. I think this kind of manifestation is increasing because our tour guide, Robin, she was here just a couple of days ago. And it was a daytime tour. People were feeling a cold spot, and it was like they were touching it. Wow. Even, you know, it should be warming up here, but it's actually, the temperature's dropping.
Flash. Right here.
Yep, something's here. I could use the volunteer, preferably a woman. We've made eye contact.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kristen.
Well, different persons can try it too. Would you like to hug what we think might be a child? You don't have to. What's your name, please?
Kristen.
I thought it would be Kristen, yeah. Could you just pretend you're hugging a child? Because he just seems to respond to women more, nothing personal, guys.
I see that ring.
So you're Kristen. I'll tell you what. We're going to go over to the next building. We're going to leave Kristen here. We're going to come back in a half an hour and ask you what you felt. Stay here by yourself.
Sounds like a good idea.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, thank you, Kristen. Would somebody else like to try? Young lady, would you like to try? Or somebody would like to come forward? Okay. All right, Christina's going to do it. You felt spirits before, so. Okay. And of course, ghost hunting is fun, or I wouldn't stick with it. But like Bruce Lee said, play seriously. Could you touch somebody, please, so that we can feel you? And these windows are quite sealed. You won't feel any drafts coming out of them. Now it actually feels warm now.
Feels cold behind.
Behind you? Like it's traveled?
Feel it? Me too.
happening over here? Do you have,
Oh, we said we felt a
right
drag
before they said that they felt cold, like we felt it like we
on
felt-
our.
like, yeah,
Yes.
it's like
it's traveling then? It's traveling around. It doesn't want to stay still tonight. I'm just guessing it's a little more still. Well, I could try a more radical experiment. I could activate the noisiest and most dangerous machine in our collection. It's a spinning mule that was built in 1909. And early in the machine's evolution, when the thread snapped, and threads always would, that can spin 64 lines of thread at the same time. Somebody would need to get back there behind the carriage, tie a little weaver's knot to keep the thread traveling. Then they had to duck underneath the carriage, hit the floor, get out of the way of the carriage before it rolled back and crushed them. Now, I wouldn't opt to go back there. I'm too big and clumsy. But an 8 or 9-year-old child should have little trouble getting back there behind the carriage, tying some knots where the thread broke, and then ducking underneath it, hit the deck, and climb over the rail. So I mean,
You know, mate, I used to work in one of these mills when I was a lad, and the children didn't always make it out in time.
so every once in a while we'll hear confirmation of the rigors and the dangers of working in these noisy textile mills. Now, if I leave this lever back, we'll run all night. All right, let's say we send little Bobby over here and Sarah back there. They got plenty of time to get out, don't they? Gotta crawl out of there now before. I'm sure little Bobby and Sarah made it out in time, most of the time. All right, let's just take advantage of our space and walk around a little bit, see if we hear or feel anything. Because this is genuine paranormal investigative procedure.
All the pictures you showed
Film
me.
it.
Wait, let me see that one. Wait, there's nothing in this one.
that one, and then
See, but the other photographs are normal,
I want to see.
and they're showing up again in the second photograph.
it's fog. That's what you're seeing.
Wait.
But it's inside the mill.
Fog's supposed to be, Carl.
That's a spirit mist. I don't know what else to call it, but sometimes you find a concentration of energy that we can call a spirit mist. It happens primarily in cemeteries and very haunted sites. But the photograph before, the preceding photograph and the photograph after will be completely normal looking. The whole thing?
Yes.
Well, Lana Brock, it was October 17th, 2014. Lana Brock was here from Kokomo, Indiana. Now, Lana's story was featured on an episode of the Sci-Fi Channel series Paranormal Witness. It tells about her and her twin sister growing up in a very haunted house in Kokomo, Indiana. It's one of the top 3 most popular episodes of Paranormal Witness. Well, Lana's EMF detector, her electromagnetic field detector, started reacting loudly when she entered the mill. She aimed her camera at the stairwell, and in one of her pictures you can see a figure. You can see the arm and the leg running up the stairwell. It looks like somebody running up the stairs. No, her twin sister's still with us, Lisa, Lana and Lisa. But it's fun to see that episode here saying, Lana, Lisa. No, her twin sister's still with us.
Are you here with us? She doesn't like the light. Follow the bowl. Where's the bowl going? Look at them turning.
Are you upset there are women in this building?
Is anybody sensing anything in this area? You feel the elements?
Well, no, over in the corner, that far side door. I know there's a door that leads into the mill. The door with the ramp. When you're standing right there near the wall, it feels a lot colder. It just felt a little cooler than normal. And then when I walked away towards the door that leads into all the parts of the mill, it felt a little bit warmer, a little bit like more at peace. When I went back over to the railing, leaned up against that, it started to feel a little bit colder again. So I don't know what was going on. So it was a little strange.
And you heard some sounds as well?
Yes, behind the door, that door that leads to the other part of the mill. I was leaning up on it most of the time because I thought I heard shuffling, and I didn't know if anybody was behind it. That's why I asked what was behind it, and it was just a little weird, just a little shuffling noises that were going on behind that door. So it was pretty cool though.
When we first went in, I was only a minute or two in. We could hear like I couldn't see anything, but you could hear this like chatter, and it sounded like the rustling of plates. And I asked the tour gentleman if they ate in the building, if they and he said that they did, but he wasn't sure where. But it definitely had the sound of plates and like somebody was having a meal or cleaning up. It just sounded like a lot of noise.
Well, it's the most paranormal thing that you saw happen tonight. We heard voices in the pit, I tell you.
This is Carl Johnson for Nebula Entertainment. And I'm here in Slater Mill site, built in 1793, Slater Mill building proper. And we've just had a public ghost tour. Now, the reason I organized this program is to provide persons with a venue for paranormal investigating if they're not a member of a group, or, well, Slater Mill is regarded as a mecca for paranormal investigators by many. People come from all diverse areas of the country to be here. And this provides people with an opportunity to come into this mill and spend 90 minutes, well, it always turns into 2 hours, investigating, exploring. We go through all 3 buildings on the grounds with the lights off. And it is authentic paranormal investigation procedure. I'll always start off with a proviso that we can't guarantee the persons will experience anything of a paranormal nature, but they will hear some of the lesser known history and lore of Slater Mill and the Blackstone River, which you don't read about in the history books, but nonetheless we have confirmed and researched. But we always get something that you could call paranormal or inexplicable always occurs. So that's why we're here in the 1793 Slater Mill.